we got a winner here. He has a show going on Patrick, so you can check his art out tonight and talk to him about it, or you can check it out the rest of October. Let's get it going for Tyler Baker.
How's HighBrow doing tonight? How many of y'all been on a lot of bad dates this year? Just me? Just me. Alright, that's cool. We're gonna go on a ride. I've been on so many bad dates and thinking about starting reviewing them. Like this one, it's like, it made me feel so bad. I started appreciating emo music again. Yeah, I can't get Black Parade out of my head now. This other date I went on, she's like, I'm gonna make you fat. And I've already had some of your cooking, hun. Not cooking like that. And dysentery will make you lose a few pounds. Or die on the Oregon Trail. Depending on what you've played in the 90s. But I make a lot of bad decisions. Like, I'm really thinking about getting some leather pants. That way, anytime I walk up next to a sharp counter, I can just bust out to a can of biscuits real quick. It's all, shit, y'all got any duct tape? It's gonna be a long afternoon. Like, I make so many bad decisions. I took a girl out on the second date after she punched me in the face. That's not. This bruise is not from that. That's a different story. But I wanted to find out if it was the whiskey or me. Turns out she's just mean. Mean drunk. Which fails on two levels. You gotta be able to hold your alcohol for me. I'm from Tennessee, so. It's like 3 of the rules right there. Beer, whiskey, moonshine. You gotta be able to hold it. She could not hang. Or maybe that's just her way. I found out the hard way that a friend of mine didn't drink. A gallon and a half of Jaeger later, I'm waking up next to a tree wondering, how the fuck did I leave her house? And getting help from some homeless dude that luckily knew where I lived, because I didn't right then. It's good to live in Greeley. Some days it works out for you, you know? Learned a while back, no good deed goes unpunished. I gave this lady at work a bike, and not as soon as I get off, she gets arrested. But don't worry, GPD took the bike too, so she's got a ride when she gets out. They always looking out. Good for GPD. You know? Y'all remember that train wreck in Ohio? Yes. Pretty sure my ex-fiance had something to do with that. It was all pretty toxic and used to fly off the rails all the time. I'm like, that's her MO. I didn't know she moved to Ohio. I'm glad I don't live over there. They're all like, toxicity levels have risen in this neighborhood about 40%. Shit. She needs to move. Y'all can just call her out. Get out of my neighborhood. But yeah, I had a fiance 3 times. Same person. Yeah, so that's my favorite joke right there. You never want to propose to anybody at a Waffle House. It'll kind of set the emotional and traumatizing tone for the whole time. 3.5 years. She could really throw an ashtray at them. I know that. She also knew how to use a paring knife, but never was on fruit. My leg still hurts. But speaking of Waffle House, I learned this later. You gotta be prepared. If you're walking into a Waffle House at 3 in the morning, be prepared. These people never close. They're ready for a hurricane at any moment. I mean, any Waffle House. That's why they're slightly ghetto, because they're just waiting for a hurricane to come around. So they can get a day off work. They never close. And my favorite day was orientation. It'll almost prepare you for a hostage situation, which is weird because I had been in a hostage situation before I got my job at Waffle House. They should have just asked, "You been in one?" "Yeah." "All right, you're prepared. Your management material here." Like my favorite day at Waffle House is when I walked up to set somebody up. They're like, "You don't want to serve us?" And I'm 2 feet away. You do not have to yell. But you know what? Not anymore. There's the door. Have a good evening. Now your friends can stay, but you're too drunk and it's only 10:30 and I'm not as high as I want to be. I just got there. He goes on to leave. The next day I get a 10-cent raise and a handshake from a manager. I'm like, wow, I actually called. I gave him the number. I ain't scared. Do it. I was working 3 jobs. I need to get fired from one of them. That way I can flex. I got tired. But got some other stuff about broken bones. We've covered broken hearts. So Anybody in here broke a bone recently? What'd you break? Ribs. What'd you learn?
Don't skateboard on the 4-foot ramp and launch yourself off.
That is a good lesson to learn. Yeah. My skateboard lesson was I learned patience. Yeah, when I broke my leg and ankle, I learned patience. Sitting on the side of the road for an hour and a half waiting for somebody to just stroll on will somehow, teach you some life lessons. It's weird. The messed up part is the person that gave me the ride to the hospital took my cupcakes. I know. It weren't for him. I was trying to get stoned. It was for the person that had the weed. But the first time I broke my back, I learned my sister had a really crappy driving instructor. Later it became factual because I had the same driving instructor, my dad, and I ended up running over a different stop sign. It's like the clutch is in the middle. Fuck it is. I thought you worked on race cars, dude. I broke my pinky when I was like 8. That day I learned look where I'm going and not panic. 5 seconds after I slammed his hand in a car door, I ran right into a pole and knocked myself out. Where'd that boy go? Oh, that's good. He's still breathing. It's all right. First time I broke my ankle, in this one. I learned how to question authority. I was at a Boy Scout meeting, we finished up, and they're like, hey, go play dodgeball. In the only carpeted room you have? Oh, all right. Well, it's cool. I dodged the ball, but as soon as I did it, I heard a big snap. And then they kicked me out of Boy Scouts for being a liability. Everybody else that day got their health badge. And I'm like, shit, that's not fair. I had the $25 to pay for the sash. That's what they call it. It's a sash. The second time I broke my back, I learned to just leave it up to the professionals. I was doing something for my mama, and it's like, you never want to tell your mama no. So I'm up in a tree trying to get some dead branches down, and the branch I was on, and half the tree decided to come down with me. I know Superman's pain, when you get hit by a plane, you really feel that. I crawled to the center of the yard, asked my friend, pass me the blunt. Yeah, it wasn't really a question. Near, no, smoke. I'm gonna die. Sat in that lawn chair 5.5 hours just getting started. This is not legal. This is Tennessee. It's cool. I'm gonna crawl back inside and go to bed for 4 days. See what else we got. I think that's about my set. Y'all have a good evening.